What's up, you guys? My name is Petunia and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So before Skubega, you guys, with today's teaching, I would like to take this opportunity to say thank you to our new subscribers. These are my lovely friends from TikTok. So for just watching the videos and choosing to be a part of this platform, or supporting the platform rather. So in today's teaching, y'all, we are going to be talking about the purpose of singlehood and what happens when you skip this season. I mentioned in one of my previous videos, Guti, I have never bumped into a sermon or teaching online or in person la mhlambe bengidawuthi attende khona bafundzisa ngendzaba yokuba single. The purpose really yokuba single in a way that is empowering, right? Ngicabanga ukuthi most of the teachings lengike ngaweva nje akhuluma about singlehood kusuke kubheshwa the people that are dating, and people are just being told you are single, you are not supposed to do 1, 2 and 3. Why? Because God just says you can't. And so we have seen and we continue to see, Guti, that approach doesn't really work, because Bandu ngathi bafuna understand that the reasons why mdali asho ukuthi okay, you cannot engage to get into leti so when you are single, right? Most of the time, noma ngabe bandu iqiniso baladi, there's a difference between truth and understanding. Information is only transformative if you understand that. It's not just about knowing or hearing the truth, it's about understanding. And so once you understand, so yeah, it's okay, I'll push on mundu, you just know you can't do this, you can't do that, because you understand my implications lalanzelago as soon as you break or bend that rule, right? And so I feel like we do need to get to a point as a society where we can start teaching these things from a perspective that is empowering rather than condemning, because clearly if you're just going to tell people it's okay, you just can't do this, you can't do that, people are continuing to do what you're saying, banga wendy, and they are ripping lama consequences, alama actions, but clearly they don't even care, because baleka ini the wisdom and the understanding. And so we should always seek wisdom, we should seek lady wisdom, right? So it's all about understanding and wisdom. So ungaba na information, but if unga understanding, guba pointless. And so I'm hoping ukuthi in today's teaching bantu labaningi batoba ne understanding yokuthi yini le purpose yokuthi vele ube single, because bantu labasha labaningi ba confused la ngaphandle. Young people don't want to be alone with God. Number 2, but engage with this dating culture in attempts to run away from the refining fire of singlehood. But now, ngenxa yokuthi people lack understanding, ubese ungena kulama cycles lawo layendakalako in the dating culture, ayakudestroya nokukudestroya, and you don't even realize it. Why? Because you lack understanding. And so ngiyakholwa ukuthi in today's teaching mdala utozama ukuthi asivulele ingqondo tethu, so that even if you are alone, you know ukuthi you are not just single because mdali uthi just be single. No, manje uwenda logo from a place of understanding, and you are actually empowered ukuthi uqhubeke ukhule until ufika la mdali afuna kukisa khona. So into mdali la ivetile nje lebalekile, I think that led to him wanting me to share this message as well. Nguthi I problem lekhona is that young people are running away from being alone with God. They already know Guti being alone with God is costly, right? And so now they keep themselves busy ngalokjola bacabanga ukuthi as long as I have a person around, as long as I'm sleeping around, as long as there's somebody telling me good night, as long as there's somebody choosing me, then life should be okay. But umdali uyaveta ukuthi this matter and this season, yes, singlehood, is very important to him. And uyayibona ukuthi most people engage with data and fornication and all that in attempts to run away from being alone with God. And so the message that he shared, if you run away from him with the season you're single that he ordained, you are going to meet him in your marriage. Number 2, the things that you are running away from in your season you're single, the things that you don't want to confront by actually engaging with a culture of fornicating and constantly changing partners. Ubalegela, who confront the things that God wants to do in your life. Uti, those things will confront you in your marriage. He made that clear, what there is no escaping. And hayi ngoba uNkulunkulu akasanzi or akafuni ukubona abantu ba happy. No. uNkulunkulu we order, but also live ikhuluma ngokuthi he is the owner of all souls, right? And scripture talks about how we are expected to be like Christ. So asikolana for the sake of just existing, and we don't belong to ourselves. We have to account to our God. And uNkulunkulu uyaveta ukuthi he is not petty ngendlela yokuthi angakudala wena umncane uzwe uyoshona solo umenza wonye. You have to grow, you have to evolve, you have to transform. That is a part of the system buildile for humans, right? And so uveta kuthini when there are seasons empilweni yemuntu, isizini yani yokuba single, that's where God gets to deal with you intimately, one-on-one. Then when you enter the covenant of marriage, lapo nguwe and your husband or nguwe and your wife, you become one, niyachubeka ijeni yenu yempilo together with your God. So there is not a point in your life la utoba khona by yourself. You are forever with God. God is forever with you. But lama seasons ayahluka, and how he deals with you in those seasons, ne purpose ya lama seasons ayahluka. Seen a problem in our communities because bantu labasha bafuna kumixa into up abacabanga ukuthi uNkulunkulu we order. So umdali uyaveta ukuthi akekho umuntu lodalwa ashadile. There's a reason for that. It's because kunesikhathi lasibekile lafuna kudila naso nemuntu as an individual. Then uma sowushada usuke sekacedzile kwenta njani kudila nawe as an individual. Then kuba netinto teni lento awuxoxa khona uma so uku the covenant of marriage. But then akhona uba what's the word? He's mindful of the fact that you now have a partner, you now have children, you now have extended family members and all that. Aga be unreasonable. Yeah, but and that's why it's important to submit fully during your season yokuba single, so that God can perform the work lafuna kuyenda in your life before you take on more responsibilities. Because marriage basically adds layers empilweni yemuntu. So when you enter the covenant of marriage, it's not like we are shinja automatically. I do when you are now a completely new person. No, you are still the same person. The only difference is now you are legally tied to somebody else. So if you entered your marriage bitter, angry, selfish, self-esteem issues, all those things won't change. You will still be that where you are going. The difference is you just now tied to somebody else. And so we are born onge lama gaps lawa, and let's discuss it today just to help you. And if you feel you're already on the right path, you're more than welcome to share this with your sisters, your brothers, whoever you feel might benefit from this video. So the very first thing I highlighted, as I said, ashadile, right? Number two, what's mdali, there's a reason for that. Number two, waveta inzaba yokuthi by virtue of being human, wonke umuntu ukhera scar lesithide, and that scar can only be healed by God. If you read scripture, sitokutshela ukuthi uthi mdali kuJeremiah, I knew you before you were formed. And ngidoncherela one day about the revelation that he gave me ngalendzaba lefana naleyo as well, but ngilabeka highlighter khona kuthini that message like niketa Jeremiah, but also the revelation like wangipha yona kuthini besihlala naye before we transitioned site la emhlabeni. So your soul, your spirit, asiqhamuki from your mom and dad. Your soul, your spirit, bekukumdali way before you were even formed, right? And so uveta kuthini uma wena uplacewa in your family, uma utransitiona from heaven to earth, uma utransitiona from that place where you dwelled in God's presence to this earth, kune trauma lebakhona lapho, right? And in his divine knowledge, his divine wisdom, wende kuthi singakhumbuli nokuthi bekunjani ngale, right? And so now waveta kuthi because of that kuba ne loss of identity, right? And so uma ufika la emhlabeni funa yena ende njani in that season yokuba single aphinze akubuyisele. So uveta kuthini number two, le mindeni le bantu baplantwa kuyo when they are born, right? So it's basically your soul lehleti in this body, but le body iplantwe kuphi gamabuza or gakhoza, whatever the case may be, but the soul and the spirit nkulunkulu uthi bekanako logo way before you showed up. And so ngokuvela wena with that family through your mother and your father, le bloodline leyo inetinkinga tayo, inema curses ayo, inema traumas ayo. So apart from the trauma yokuthi usuke kuphi the secret place where you dwelled in the presence of the Lord, wa transitiona wethu emhlabeni kune trauma yako lokho, kuphinze kube nani nema traumas lo wathola ngokuthi utalelwe in that particular family laba place kuyo, right? And so now mdali uthini, what most people don't understand ukuthi the single season is where God says, submit your body, your mind, and spirit to me so that I can heal the generational traumas la loa inkerile by being born in this family. Submit your body to me, submit your mind, submit your spirit. Now that you are still single, let me heal your mother wounds, let me heal your father wounds, let me heal your pride, let me heal your insecurities, all those things that can potentially damage your marriage if left unchecked, right? I also spoke about the loss of identity. Ngokuthini usuke ngale wetanganeno, and in God's wisdom wende kutunga kumbuli how it was like being in his presence, right? This is the season where God gets to heal you and teach you aphinze futhi adile nale lack of identity lo suke wena unayo, akubuyisele kuphi kuye. So it's basically a season of purification rather than punishment. But Satan ngoba vele ungenile and he's blinding people. Bandu abacabanga ukuthi or abayiboni deeper lenzaba ukuthi oh no, we are actually meant to be fully submitted to God so that he can purify us, so that he can heal us, so that he can make us whole before we say I do, before we enter with the covenant of marriage. And because of that, kune chaos leseyikhona obviously in our communities, but imdala uphinzo yaveta ukuthi ngoba abantu labaningi abafuni to be alone with God and let God deal with those things. Bafuna kujola bajole bafornicate. Eventually kube na that one guy or that one girl lodoto shade, and then people marry and then bangena emshadweni. So now you've got two individuals who have never healed, who have never been transformed by the Lord, sebangene kuphi in the covenant of marriage. Mdala uyaveta ukuthi the broken families leswabonako all around us, it's a product of exactly that. Namhlanje lokho ungangena on social media udova ngalendlela abantu labasha bakhala ngakhona ngenzaba yokuthi abakhulanga emakhaya la right, my parents wabo bewenda lokho, my parents wabo bewenda lokho. It's chaotic. People grew up surrounded by so much trauma. Into longe kuyicabange nokuthi ingendeka in families. Why? Because even those parents nabo utilize this season yokuba single ngendlela mdali ayi-ordaine ngakhona. Bene njani bafune kwenda into tabo. So now mdali uyaveta ukuthi there's consequences for skipping le season le. Nokuveta ukuthi the very things that you are running away from, the very things leti kwenda ukuthi futhi ungamfuni uNkulunkulu in your season yokubasekela umbalekele ngokuthi uloku uskipper from one person to the next, one relationship to the next. Tito confronta kuphi where you are going. Number two, uthi lenye into lecakako ngilokuthi, and I think we spoke about this, but imdalo yayi emphasize anenzaba yokuthi he who finds a wife finds a good thing. But into leseyicakako ngukuthi even the women do not want to submit their bodies, their minds, their spirits to their father. And uNkulunkulu uthi this is also the season where I get to teach women how to be wives. This is where I get to teach men how to be husbands. When logo fornicator during the season yokuba single, when you are supposed to be submitted to God, when I'm busy, you hopping from one relationship to the next, you hopping from one bed to the next, matroma aqua logaya pile up, eventually you get married. Mbuto uti, when did you get to be trained to be a wife? When did you get to be trained to be a husband? This is one other reason why marriages are not even working anymore. No mabangaza batho celebrity la kuphi. If ungalandzeli timiso taNkulunkulu, chances are utawuhlabelela ingoma lefanako nabo bonke bantu. Marriage is a scam. Ayikho lento what. But mina ngitoma la ngikutshela ukuthi there is no such. uNkulunkulu angeke asaze adesign into leto destroyer. His ways ngito actually leti guarantee ukuthi la uyakhona kube sekuyalasta nokuthi futhi ukenjoy. It's one thing for your marriage to even last. It's a different ball game altogether for one to truly enjoy being married, because kunema joy letako nani na that covenant as uNkulunkulu intendile. But a lot of people don't even get to experience all of that. Why? Because abafuni kuhamba na uNkulunkulu, abafuni kulandzelela titep lekungitona tona leti abafikisa la mdali afuna kubafikisa khona. So uNkulunkulu uyaveta ukuthi by running away from him and the fire of, singlehood, you are basically running away from the school that is meant to teach you how to actually be a wife and to be a husband, because that is taught. And the only person who can teach you that is your creator. There is no manual for marriage. Ngulungulu utini, he gets to teach you that. And so if you're going to run away from him, where did you learn how to steward inhlitiyo yalo mundu lo tobe unai? Where did you learn ukuthi mshado usebenta njani, umaintainwa njani? Because you haven't engaged the person lo yawo lo mshado. You understand? So not only are you robbing yourself of the opportunity to actually be healed, to be made whole, noguti ube transformed when you run away from God, but you also rob yourself of the opportunity to learn how to be a good husband and how to be a good wife. So mdali number 2, we have it aguti, when you run away from these things, they are confronted in your marriage, but in which is also a burden to me and the people la aba trustile to talk about these things. Ngilokutini kugcina kube nebantwana labavelago from those marriages, and umdalo uyaveta ukuthi the sad part ukuthi children suffer because of the decisions lendwe nglabatali. A decision as simple as your refusal to just submit to God. Ngale season yena bekakubite ukuthi wena usubmit ngayo, because ultimately if you are running away from the healing process, you're running away from being purified, being transformed during your singlehood season, right? Now uma ushada, like I said, awushintshe as a person. Marriage doesn't change a person. A ring doesn't change a person. Ngibile example earlier. If you've always been bitter, overly needy, unama abandonment issues, unama traumas around finances, you suffer from rejection. Even if you say I do, akshinchi logo after a honeymoon. You enter that covenant, you are the same person. Ultimately, those things will confront you there, because what marriage does, it amplifies lendo wena long yoyona already. And now uveta intaba yokuthini kuba more difficult for one to try to heal nowenda all the things that they should have done in their season yokuba single sebashadile. Why? Because now there's more responsibilities. You cannot heal properly while you're busy paying bills. You've got children to raise. Nabo banema emotions abo that needs to be attended to. That needs to be attended to. Winning, they need to be taught. They need to be groomed properly. Now, how are you going to do all of that when you yourself as a parent are broken? You are carrying abandonment issues. You've been rejected from a very young age. Yes, John ended up marrying you, but remember, a trauma that has never been healed eventually becomes your personality. So even if John ends up marrying you, he's not really marrying a wife. He who finds a wife finds a good thing. Siyabona ukuthi wives are found. They are not made because they have a ring. They are not made because they walked aisle bahamba by altarini but say I do, right? So you still get into that marriage with all those traumas. Mdali utini goba more difficult now to deal with those things. Less at the amplifier yini ngle environment loso kuyo. Now you are expected to submit. You are expected to provide if you are a man. You are expected to raise children. The responsibilities are piling up. Now you need to deal with your mother wounds. Now you need to deal with your daddy wounds. Now you need to deal with the fact that before you got married, 10, 15, 20 other guys played you and rejected you. And some it's just a crazy example that I just made there, but it's okay. But emphasize the very things that you run away from healing will confront you in marriage. And when they do, guba more chaotic. That's where we now see partners baba in situations where aba understand that they don't even enjoy marriage. Nebandwana ba subjected to the negative energy lebakona in that space. Why? Because your trauma is now bleeding into your communication with your children. It's bleeding into your parenting. It's bleeding into your intimacy with your partner. It's bleeding into just everything that is around you in that household. Agukonje pleasant guba around you. You are overly needy or pushy. insecurities. This term that most ladies oh, I want to live under his skin. No, you don't want to live under his skin, my sweetie. That is trauma that needs to be healed. Who says a single, right? So that when you say I do ngaleyelan, you are meant to be a covering together with your husband. Covenant. It's not a place for you to be overly needy or covenant. It's a place for you to cover your household. So overly needy, the enemy can always capitalize on that because gaps now. And then when a deception in the minds of young people, by being in these relationships, jumping from this man to that, jumping from this girl to that, because good reason why there's a reason why you constantly want to be in a relationship. There's a reason why you are in that relationship. There's a reason why you have made the conscious choice to disobey your father who said, don't fornicate. You know what? I'm going to do this. Gunendo la kuwele kwenda kuti wende logo. Gunendo la kuwele enda kuti le instruction leyo or that commandment ungayi thathi serious, right? And some daluya veta kuti this deception satane la se I plantile in the minds of people la abenda ba feeling azuti as long as they've got somebody around them then they are going to be fine. Being in a relationship, just dating, even if we're in a committed relationship for 4 years, as long as I know I am chosen by John, then right? It's basically a form of numbing letindo leti mdali lafuna kahle kahle kudila nato. But mdali uveta kuti ngisathane lo ngenile and he's been deceiving people to believe ukuthi that's the way to go about it until they say I do. However, with the traps laba khona lapo, and I just quickly want to discuss that with you guys before we move to the next point. All right, so the deception let's say khona ngilokutini, if you can just date until there's just that one person who eventually picks you and marry you, you are going to be fine. But in fornication, what you don't realize is you are not being transformed. As much as satane ugwenda ufeeling as uti, it's actually what you need. Mdali uti, in those situations, I will be transformed. Instead, you are being torn. So when you look at the culture of dating, it's all about saying yes to this person, they sleep with you, they discard you. You say yes to this person, they sleep with you, they discard you. You say yes to this person, they sleep with you, they discard you. That's the whole point. I don't want to talk about the lunches and whatnot that everyone is just, thinking it's all that and the little petty things that you guys think are all that, because at the end of the day, it boils down to sexual sin. That is why most men will tell you they can't be in a relationship with you if they can't sleep with you, because it boils down to that, right? So the whole culture of dating, if we are being honest, you are basically giving yourself to different people, they sleep with you, they discard you. And some that cycle, because when in okay, if I just do this, eventually one person is gonna pick me. Ultimately, it's doing more damage to the lives of young people, Njani, because if you already battling with childhood traumas, rejection from childhood, abandonment issues from childhood, all those things, now you get into the cycle of dating where all these men have you, discard you. They have you, they discard you. They have you, they discard you. They are reinforcing the very thing lekuhlukubetile from a very young age. Instead of the experiences being transformative, they end up damaging you even more. Siphila etikhatsini where a lot of women basebenzisa amagama ukuthi, oh no, I'm in my independent girl era. People emotionally generally, they have shut down. Not just ladies, there are men who have shut down. You can't tell me, Guti, you can be out every single day drinking alcohol, drowning yourself in alcohol, abuse jema substances, you do all these things. You're trying to numb something. Same applies with the women. It's all a form of trying to, it's just coping mechanisms that people come up with because they're trying to numb the pain. Yeah, and the pain of being rejected by the last girlfriend, the pain of being rejected by the last boyfriend, the pain of being abandoned by the person that you thought, you loved, and they left you for a better partner. Gonge logo. It breaks your soul, it torments the soul, and it reinforces the very things that you know for a fact deep down what you want to actually be healed from. And sometimes that's where the enemy comes in. And people think, oh no, we're just having fun. Oh no, we're just getting to know each other. Or if I don't date, then if I don't date, no, angeke baze baphele baby. Bayabuya emishadweni bayadivorce every day, because as long as ungakalandzeli timiso taNkulunkulu, it's not going to work. I always say impilo yitse kakhulu, yitse impilo, and there's no tricking the system. So akunakuthi madoda atawuphela noma bangaze bashade uyababona every day bayabuya. Check the stats atokutshela divorce rates ngalendlela are crazy ngakhona. No kude bafathi labaphelayo noma bangaze bambe bayemshadweni batophinze babuye. Why? Because bantu bacabanga ukuthi bahlanganiphe kundlula mdali. But these are the teachings uNkulunkulu lafuna ukusi-expose kudo latoncitsisa ukuthi bantu bete ama-choices la better, so that le covenant lolwela yona kangaka uze ucompromise nema principles emdali wakho just because you want that man to end up marrying you. Ulwela ukuthi ufuna kuyofika lapho. These are the principles that will teach you aphinze ende ukuthi uma sowufikile lapho loya khona uhlale ubuye mhlawumbe uzofele khona, but if you don't do it God's way, then chances are utawungena but utawuphinza ubuye, just like a lot of people bayangena baphinze babuye. You don't want that. So kutosita nje as young people ukuthi simlalele uNkulunkulu, because there's a verse lengiyithandayo lethi nje his standards stands sure. Akutshintshi lutho. We can lose our minds or act like we don't care, but when you bend the rules or push nje ma boundaries, there's always a price to pay for that. And so the very thing that a lot of people are using as an escape is actually a cycle labor breaker even more. Labanye bagcine ba-opta not to even marry altogether. Why unyanye into longakaze wangena kuyo? Why it's when oh no, I'll never get married. These women ain't what? I'll never get married. These men. But you've never been married before. Why do you hate it so much? It's because you are so drained from overgiving gulama situations that aren't conducive for you. You overgiving gulama situations na with this culture that is not designed to help your soul isore and thrive. You are participating in a system le design sita, and ufuna kulanza ama principles la godly uwafake lana. It's just confusion. You cannot do life like that. If ufuna kubona tithembiso taNkulunkulu in that covenant loyifunago in future, then you have to play by God's rules. But if you want the covenant without doing things ngalendlela mdali athi dende ngakhona, utawungena but utawuphuma. If awuphumi, your children will suffer the consequences. Ogutini babe bantwana bakho, a mom that is never healed, a dad that is never healed. How painful would that be? Experience yabo nje ingabi mnanzi just because you refused to do the work. You refused ukuthi wena njani uloya to submit fully to your heavenly Father, kube nguye la preparable for where you are going. And that's where these generational traumas angena khona as well. So you are trying to break free from something that wena mara awufuni uyendele labantwana bakho labetayo. How fair is that? You know, bantu bahambele therapy every day, labanye baventa on social media every single day. Why? Because pain labayikerago. People commit crimes that are just shocking. Abuye futhi angabi remorse. Uthi ulimele lo muntu like that. So all those things, mdali uthini, they could have been prevented if muntu nje bekatoba humble enough to realize I cannot do this life on my own. I actually need to submit myself to my Father. Kube nguye la ngifundisako ukuthi ngingibani ufuna ngiyende njani lempilo le. In that way, sasa I can be a better dad, I can be a better mom, and we want those children ukuthi bakhule kahle in the covenant of marriage, the way God designed it. There's nothing cute ngalenza bayokuthi co-parenting. These are all the enemy's strategies to just continue destroying people. And banlabasha abafuni kulalela, abafuni kuvula mehlo, and abafuni kuva. I don't know what the problem is. Kude into lekushiyago, kude into lebalekago. God is never late, and God can be trusted. If you just decide to do things by his rules, God will not shame you. He's not going to put you to shame. But siyathanda tricky systems, thanda jumper the gun. Manje ufuna tindo le you're not even ready for. A lot of people but realize I late, I wasn't even ready for this marriage thing. We're gonna get to a series where we discuss marriage in detail. I'm gonna share with you guys the things that the Lord showed me about the covenant of marriage. And once God starts teaching you these things, it just changes your perspective, you know. Awunabeli nalama counterfeits, because the Lord himself ugupa a proper design yayo lendo akusherele yena ukuthi no man, it's not what you're saying. This is what I had in mind when I designed this covenant. And you're like, you know what, God, I can really wait for that, you know. So angfuni ukuthi take my word for it. Cultivate your own relationship with your Father as well. Nawe akupe a taste, akuvise, akusherele, you know. So uma wenda njalo. So in this series, we're just going to be talking about singlehood, touch on all the things for those of you guys who would like to embark on that journey. You know, you're going to establish a relationship here and things like that. Good thing we embrace anjani, but in a way that is empowering, not in a way that we're anxiously like, oh, no, that's not how you wait, you know. So kunendlela yakhona heart posture, kunendlela yakhona nje lo ulinza ngayo, indlela le kwenda nawe ube empowered and you transform, you grow. That's what we want. So now mdali uphinze waveta indzaba yokuthini, this is the other damage that the enemy ayenda etimpilweni tebantu abasha, and most young people don't realize this. Uthi the same dating culture lesikhulume ngayo ukuthi iya destroyer instead of transforming. Uveta nokuthi because of the brokenness banlabaningi lase bandlula kuyo ngenxa yaloku rejectwa, yaloku lahlwa, yaloku, you know, from being abandoned by different partners, because every time you engage with the person, noma ngaze hlukane, you leave a part of yourself gule your situation leyo. Yeah, it takes a part of you. And so mdali uyaveta ukuthi the people that are continuously in that pool, you hop from this to that, from this to that, what they don't realize, and Guti tied to it, is this cycle of coping versus healing. And I was like, okay, it's getting a bit deeper. And he said, yes. Moba, you are continuously rejected, right? Abandoned by different partners. They leave you for the next better girl. They leave you for the next better guy, right? Reinforce the hurt. From wherever or whatever it is prior to meeting that person kuleyo relationship leyo at that particular time. As they continue to do that, most young people never develop any coping mechanisms, right? To deal with the hurt, to deal with the rejection, to deal with the pain, to just deal with the stresses and the traumas of participating in this dating cycle, right? So uyaveta ukuthi lenye i-trick phansi kwayo yona leyo ukuthi sekunale cycle yani i-cycle ye-coping versus healing. That cycle now delays your readiness for marriage. So uyabona ukuthi letinto tiyaconnecta konke nje kokukudestroya kahle kahle. It's all meant to destroy you because you are this single person who has never submitted to God. You've got your traumas, you've got your wounds, everything that God wanted to heal. And when you said, no, instead, I'm going to play gulel ground leli labatini gadlalwanakon, right? As people are doing that to you, bayaklimata even more. They break you even more instead of helping you transform. Now, a new cycle of coping versus healing iyavela. Angithi siyabona in our communities, people are drowning in alcohol. Labanga drowning in alcohol, bachita left, right, and center. Even gulama dating, what. I'll cheat up emshadweni. Laba semshadweni ngilesinye story le. So I've been talking about that for a minute. But we're still gonna continue to talk about it. But even nagule dating pool. Yes, so you girlfriend, so you boyfriend. You are still cheating on the person. Confusion on top of confusion. Sometimes we have it. Don't let into late. Lo mundu khona lo solo usaksesha, khona lo solo usakfuna. But what you don't realize ukuthi you are destroying yourself ngetindo leti mdali lathini. This is why ngithe this the single season, because I wanted to deal with the very things letikupusha ukuthi uze utilimate ngalendlela wena utilimata ngayo. I wanted to purify you, I wanted to refine you, I wanted to heal you so that you can be whole. What ukuthi uma ungena in the you are not designed ukuthi madoda lo kantshintsha ngawo. You are not designed ukuthi bafati baloku bantshintsha ngawo. You are destroying your own soul. And sometimes I wanted to heal those things. Like you feel the need to hop from this person to that, from this person to that, so that ungene with the covenant with one person, nipile, and build your life lapaya. So now let's talk about the cycle of coping versus healing. I made some notes here because I'm highlight unfortunately, those coping mechanisms, bandu aba realize noguti, they actually take them into their marriages as well. So now, not angethi uyakumbula sithi marriage in layers. So now you are going in not just as the broken little girl, broken little boy. No. On top of that, you are going in from the dating culture. Now, in dating culture, you ended up being an alcoholic. You ended up being addicted to casual sex, right? Now, we spoke about how the ring and the suit and the wedding dress does not transform you. You are a cheater, you are a scam, you are a liar, you are selfish, you are an alcoholic. All these mechanisms lower developile during that stage, so ukuthi wena ungafuni ukuthi submit during that stage where people were hurting you emotionally, you were shut down, you got to a point where you didn't trust nobody, you got to a point where emotionally you feeling as oh no, I can't be vulnerable, people can't be trusted. Fine, don't get leto ujampa nato ungena nato kuphi in your covenant of marriage. That's why the Lord said what you're running away from will confront you there. So as the Lord was sharing all these things with me, ngiyathanda ukuthi ngiphinze ngene njani ngende a bit of research just to see ukuthi ngiyakhona thola maybe evidence lebeka the things that the Lord is sharing at the time. And mdali wangibuyisela kule ndzaba le ukuthi la bekangikhomba khona how the damage bantu labandlula kuyo imanifesta ngakhona in marriages and ultimately lead to lama divorces leswabonako nowadays. Mdali waveta indzaba yokuthi uma ubuka labo sis labaningi, right, the ages of 30 and 39 is usually where emotional burnout peaks in most ladies. Now I was led to do some research ngema divorce stats. Ngathola ukuthi it's also usually the time where bafati labaningi bafile khona for divorce. And often they cite reasons lafana nokuthi they are tired of being in relationships where they feel unseen, unheard, unsupported, right? So now mdalo uyaveta ukuthi thine sibona lama results lawo from a perspective yani ye society with oh well maybe the men genuinely aren't all that, but there is no such. What we don't realize is most of these ladies bebasuke vele sebakhathele from the relationships la bebaloku babayenda ma merry-go-round khona. By the time I do lo muntu ukhathele, so yeah, I'm tired of being with a man that doesn't see me. Is it not all the boyfriends that weren't seeing you that were busy leaving you for other girls? Now, one mistake from your husband who feel like yeah, these men just don't see me. I'm tired of all that. So usually, because it's not easy for one to walk away from something labaqalago guyenda. And I made a video how a lot of ladies are widows in spirit. In the physical, abana maring, but in spirit they are widows. It's the same concept. For most men as well, if he struggles with providing for his family. Why are struggling? Because on a lack mindset, by providing for his family, my resources are at our pela or they are taking from him, which is not the truth. It's actually his responsibility to provide for his family. But because he has never submitted himself to God, healer from the lack mindset, I am your father, I am your provider, I'm able to give you more than you could ever ask for. Now, when without divorce, because divorce, you find because it's usually the stages where the pressure to provide, to make it big and to have it all together. Now they feel like, oh no, I can't take this. Let me just step out. But the sad part is there's children that always suffer because of these two individuals. Usually, labangafuni to submit themselves to God before bangena with the covenant. So you guys, this has been a burden in my soul, and I know Mdali begafuna share because naguye it's a burden. Aksim Nansi because he designed marriages. Ufuna kuti bandu bende kahle. And so we are all being challenged. Evaluate what's uguphi. If you're already married, then that's fine. But if you are still single, buga what's okay. Am I really fully submitted to my father? Or lendo leng busy engage you're busy dabbling with young limad, And if the answer is no, I'm not fully submitted, do that. So ngulungulu atoksita. In that way, you are saving the future marriage that you so desire. Nebanona bako as well. utabasita nje ukuthi bangaze bayenjani babe a part of the traumas lotobe wena uyongena nawo ngale. So you guys, this message ngiyayibona nje ukuthi it's really been a burden and it's a burden nagimi as well. You know, I'm excited ukuthi we got to talk about these things, and ngicabanga ukuthi nemundu uba ne opportunity yokuthi introspect as well. You know, if you yourself remember how it was like healing from the traumas that you experienced, why would you want your own children to heal from you as well? It doesn't make sense. And if you know, we are that doing it, good, okay, I'm battling with 1, 2, and 3. And I'm saying in this message, the Lord ubege the season of singlehood to help you heal that. Why would you not want to take on that opportunity for God to actually heal you? So that you can be a better mom, so that you can be a better dad. Not to say you won't be able to heal umaso ungenile in the covenant, but why not just do it while season ivuma, because there's times and seasons for everything under the sun. Any problem yebantu ukuthi bathanza mix that into up banda bafuthi kwendinto le right nesikhathi is right. Umuntu ufuna kushayisa nasekashayisile ngikhana se sesikhathi sokuthi ngilungise. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. And so this is an invite from your loving father. Guti, hey, open your eyes. The system lo cabanga guti is actually meant to help you. The system lo feelangas guti you desire to be a part of so badly. You know, this whole system, your datana, the culture of dating. Mdali utini, it's not conducive for your soul, it's not conducive for your spirit, and it's definitely not going to pour or benefit you nala futhi loya kona. Instead, iyadla iyantshontsa from where you want to go, because kusasa lawo ma consequences lawo atobe vele se adla wena together with your own family. Now your children, instead of focusing on their own lives, they have to heal from you. It's unfair. So at the core of the message though, meaning bona an opportunity for you to show yourself love. Usuge utithanza, if utotini, here I am, Lord, heal me. Usuge utithanza uma utoti, God, I heard the message and I am aware. Guti lana la gubhlung, or lana la I haven't really healed. Can you help me with that? Udkombisa kutithanza ne self-awareness. Mara umuto say, okay, cool, I heard the message, but you know what? I'm going to continue to drink myself to sleep every day, every weekend, meaning se groovy, mi vele everything, nya groova, nya sachwala, nya lala, nya chola, na 55,000, yebandu. It's chaotic. Guning, you are destroying your own soul. You are destroying yourself. The crazy part, from such people. So we need to do better as young people. We need to do better. No, you need to do better. And because your parents bapasile i baton to you, you are doing what you are supposed to. As soon as you have your own children, nabo bakubega where you left off. Utobashiela in wena. Ubashiela in. What are they inheriting from you as the mom? What are they inheriting from you as the dad? Are they inheriting more trauma? Are they inheriting poverty mindset? Are they inheriting abandonment issues? Are they inheriting rejection? Or peace, prosperity, love, and success? And uthando laNkulunkulu nje balifile through you. Nalendlela wena utobe upora ngayo into them. You want to think about your spouse as well, when you do get married, because you're going to be pouring into each other, what are they going to be getting from you? So we are these are not things that are meant to be taken lightly, because awuphileli wena. It's selfish. Uma utoto, no, I am not going to work on myself. I am not going to allow God to heal me in any way, but I want to enter the covenant. It's selfish because you know, Guti, you need healing. But awufuni ukuthi submit so that your future husband, your future wife, your children can inherit better from you. It's a chain. So I am hoping and praying, Guti, you guys will have the strength to do the right thing, not only for yourselves, but for your future generations as well. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed the message. Please do leave your comments below. Ngiyafuna ukuva ukuthi nicabange ngale message. I'm out. Mwah.